I have not. That's okay. I really like, what's his name?
Let me give you a little inside information about
Keanu Reeves.
God. God likes to watch. He's a prankster. Think about it. He gives man instincts. He gives you this extraordinary gift, and then what does he do? I swear, for his own amusement, his own private cosmic gag reel, he sets the rules in opposition. It's the goof of all time. Look, but don't touch. Touch, but don't taste. Taste, don't swallow. And while you're jumping from one foot to the next, what is he doing? He's laughing his sick fucking ass off. He's a tight ass. He's a sadist. He's an absentee landlord. Worship that? Never.
Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven, is that it?
Why not? I'm here on the ground with my nose in it since the whole thing began. I've nurtured every sensation man has been inspired to have. I cared about what he wanted, and I never judged him. Why? Because I never rejected him. In spite of all his imperfections, I'm a fan of man. I'm a humanist. Maybe the last humanist. Who, in their right mind, Kevin, could possibly deny the 20th century was entirely mine? All of it, Kevin! All of it. Mine. I'm peaking, Kevin. It's my time now.
That's interesting. He's supposed to be Satan? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really interesting. I guess a small analogy I can use is that we are put on a playground, sure, and we have the ability and we are also given the opportunity to play on the swing set or, go down the slide or the fireman pole or whatever. But time after time, even though we shouldn't, sometimes we pick up the wood chips and we throw them at our little brother or little sister. And like, that's not what we're supposed to do. That's not what we're intended to do. But because God allowed us to go and have fun on the playground, we have the opportunity to do what is wrong. But it's not that He is pushing us to or tempting us to. God doesn't tempt us. It's just, I would say, so acting on lust and entertaining lustful thoughts is sinful. Having temptation is not sinful. That's like being human. It's fighting temptation that you have to do to stay away from sin. I would say that's like a very specific circumstance where they probably just have like, I mean, I don't know about that specific circumstance, but I think when it comes to, I think, hmm, I don't think that would be their intended purpose for their life. Like, that's not what God is for them. I think if they're putting their identity in Him and not in other things, then I feel like the closer you, so here's the flat, this blanket covers everything. The closer you are to God and the more you build your relationship with Him, the more you are like Him. Things that you identify as or things that you feel like you're stuck to fall away the more you know God and become like Him. So, addictions, attractions, all of these things they just become less significant, and the Lord becomes more and more significant. I would say, um, temptation is spiritual warfare. Yeah, partially. It could be, demonic forces trying to taunt you, but also, yeah. So the demons came, so all of these angels were created, right? And then a third of them decided to become demons and go against what God um, made them for because they wanted to do their own thing, essentially, and they didn't want to serve Him. And so they all became demons and they were cast out of heaven. And it says that they were cast into the deep. So we kind of interpret that as hell or Hades. Um, so with that, it's like Satan, he's Hades is what they call like the Satan of Greek mythology, but Hades is also a place, I guess you'd say. So with that though, like Satan is not he's not omnipresent, which means he's not everywhere at the same time like God is. So he has no power over multiple people at the same time like God does. So his presence, yeah, his presence is over all things, but Satan, some people say like, "Well, the devil is getting on to me today," or like, "Oh, I gotta blame myself on the devil," or something stupid like that, which is not accurate, by the way. But it's also like, okay, first of all, I highly doubt the actual Satan is tempting you because you're not a world leader. You're not going to be, changing lives of an orphanage or something crazy like that. It's probably just spiritual warfare. Like I think demonic forces are real, and that alone, like they can whisper and they can taunt you and they can whisper you lies. Ugh, lies are literally from the devil. I will say that over and over. So no, God is ultimately on top always, like, he's always more powerful than any demons. It's like they're this big and he's like a giant skyscraper, um, because it's so insignificant. Like, if he wanted to snap his fingers or not even have to snap his fingers and just wipe all the demons out, he could. I don't know why he doesn't. I think it's because we have this, like, good and bad, you know, war continuously going on throughout the world. And I think I think it makes him sad when we sin. He could, but he's already given us free will, and he's say the same today, yesterday, and forever. And I don't he's not an inconsistent God. But there are Christians that believe that before the end of the world, there will be 1,000 years of peace, and like that everyone will know God and we will be fruitful. Sorry. And I think I've been doing some more research about that, and I think I believe that as well. And I feel a lot more sense of hope is in that belief than just the idea that everything, you know, stops existing. But so it would be the very end of times before the world was, taken or we were put on the different earths. I don't know what that means. What'd you say? I guess it could. But, no, it says that there will be, like, a second Earth, and it'll be kind of like I think it's just talking about heaven, kind of. But I need to do some more research on that before I actually talk to you about it, because 'cause I'm just now learning about it. Oh, so you're saying, like, if we went and inhabited Mars, would God, like, kill us? Right. Yeah, I don't think Mars could compare to the new Earth that may be, uh, something that happens in the future because it would be perfect for us to live in. We wouldn't have to have, like, specific technology or anything, and God's presence would be there, and, I mean, his presence is everywhere, but it would be like we would be with God, and then also there would be no tears, there would be no strife. So, like, the new Earth would be completely different than just, like, a different planet in our universe, you know? I mean, have you seen pictures of Mars? It's just dust, brother. Yeah. No. Have you ever read the Tower of Babel story? I feel like that would be kind of similar because these people were trying to build, um, they were trying to build a tower to where they could get all the way up to heaven. And then God came down and confused their languages, and all of our languages became different languages. That way, they would be so confused they wouldn't be able to communicate with each other and keep building the tower. And so then all of the people got dispersed throughout the world with these different languages. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's in the Bible. Yeah, I don't think so. Like, we definitely don't believe like that there are aliens as a Christian belief, but a lot of like it's not in the Bible like there are aliens, you know? But different Christians have different opinions. I mean, if you think about angels, angels are pretty brilliant. They I from what I have been told from a school that I used to go to, angels, if they look at something, they can know like almost everything about it. Like they can look at the chair I'm looking at and know the dimensions, the mathematical stance of the chair, how much it weighs, like all this crazy stuff. And I was like, whoa, that's really cool. But also, how the heck do we know that? Like, I don't know who it was that was teaching me that because how do you know? But yeah, that's a good point. But, do we become angels? That would be cool, but no. No, no. No, because Jesus wouldn't need technology. There would be no addition he needs to himself. It's only within himself. Well, let's say that the wood chips were actually there because people kept scraping themselves after getting off the slide. Like, there is purpose. But I guess the rules are pinned on the wall, like of the playground. So it's obvious. It's not like there shouldn't be a whole lot of confusion for what is right and what is wrong. And after you throw the wood chips at your sister, you feel bad about it. So I don't know. He didn't make you do it. He never makes people sin ever. That like that's not in his nature, as we say. So he's not a passive God. He's an active God. He wants to have a relationship with you and he wants to like consistently be in your life. However, I know what you're saying and I know what you're getting at because yes, sin occurs. Why doesn't God do something? That's like the whole argument. It's because we have free will. Now I could say like, do you really want that free will taken away from you? I don't know what you would say to that. But so it's like you can choose to follow me or you can choose to not. If you're choosing to follow me, these things are the rules. These things are bad. But if you're choosing to not follow me, it doesn't matter what you do. That's more so correct. So let me let me make it more clear. Um, there are lots and lots of people. Let's say 1,000 people. Okay. And then 10 people choose to follow God. And they tell people, hey, I'm following God. I want to represent Christ. Those 10 people, right? Say three of those people start acting like all the other people. They're getting drunk, they're getting in fights, they're cheating on their, you know, girlfriends or boyfriends, they're um hitting people, I don't know. They're cussing, they're booty calling people, like all of these terrible things that Christians should not be doing. Those three people are not representing Christ very well. So we have these things that the Bible has taught us that are actually really good for our lives. And to become more like God, become more like Christ, we have those instructions and barriers and the Ten Commandments and fruits of the Spirit to be specific. And the armor of God. Those are great things, great passages. And so it's not so much the 1,000 people. Like you would identify as one of the 1,000 people. You're not confined by sinning. Like yes, you're sinful, but it's not like that for you because you haven't decided to follow God. Are you still Mhm. Actually it's not. China has just like become much more prominent in their Christianity. And then France also, which is unheard of. Like the young people in France have started a revolution, which is awesome. Um, but the um, wait, what was your initial question? Ah, in the Bible it says that the path is narrow and the workers are few, I believe. And so it's like it's not just it's not gonna be everyone, and that stinks, right? I wish it was, but people are gonna either choose not to know God or a hundred other reasons. And God will use his grace and his judgment for those people individually. So I personally don't know if, you said what, 2.9 billion is how many Christians there? 2 billion. Okay, something around there. So I don't know if it's just going to be us that get to have a relationship with God and get to go to heaven, or say God's grace and his judgment allows 4 billion, of the living people. And I don't know how that will work. I don't know if maybe he just can see people who are, babies or confused or have mental issues or something. Like, I really have no idea. But what I do know is that the Bible says Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. So my conclusion is I know God, I know Jesus, I know the Bible. I'm not going to choose anything else because I know these things. I'm not saying nobody else will get grace. I really have. Like, I majored in religion and I learned about so much. So, dude, you know how many there's like 7,000 religions. Huh? No, because I've read enough and I've learned enough about other religions and other gods to know that my God is the only one that defeated death. My God is the only one who truly loves me unconditionally. And my God is the only one who has like complete control over anything. He has no equal. He is a fortress. He is my deliverer. There are kings and kings and kings that have written the Bible. It's not like these hand servants or something. It's lineage, and there's prophecies that span over 5,000 years that are completed in these letters and books that were written over a course of thousands of years, and somehow they were assembled. It's just magnificent and it's divine, and I can't deny that. The Quran was written by one guy, and the Book of Mormon was written by one guy. I would say the proof is more convincing. But also my relationship with God is so strong. Like, I know he's with me. I know he's real. You're okay. I think that's a really interesting question, and I think that's totally fair. I think this is one of the reasons I see, Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and stuff like that so dangerous when parents teach their children that, assuming they're believers. Yeah, of course, because it's Jesus's birthday. But my parents never So my parents always told us growing up, like, Santa's not real. God is real. Jesus is real. But Santa is a fun game, and we don't want to ruin a fun game for other families. So don't tell other people that Santa's not real. Isn't that funny? Um, okay, so you're saying, is religion just Santa for adults? That's a really great question. Um, I think obviously people have this hole inside of them. Whether or not they can deny it, they can ignore it, they can use other things to distract them, but they have this hole of needing hope in something. And so I guess I see your correlation because I would say Santa is a hopeful thing, or like, the tooth fairy is something to look forward to if you're scared that your tooth is going to fall out. I think those are both sweet coping mechanisms. But no, the Lord, like Santa and the Tooth Fairy, for example, they're not backed by, years of prophecies and believers and laws and forces and pillars of fire and wars and, caves opening up and, there's not only substantial evidence, but also like true belief in Santa or the Tooth Fairy is not a lifestyle and it's not a relationship. Like somebody that believes in Santa wouldn't also have a relationship with Santa. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Mm, yeah. Is that how you see religion? No, no, I'm just curious because I think I could approach the conversation. Hmm. Hmm. So I would argue if people were just trying to fill the hole, I don't think they would necessarily become Christians. I mean, honestly, what I like to say is you can't fill a God-sized hole with human-sized things. So like people that become alcoholics or something like that to cope or like distract themselves, um, they're not actually fixing the problem. They're just prolonging it. They're ignoring God. They're ignoring his existence, whether or not that's what they see it as. I think they're ignoring the call to come back to him, or even they're just wallowing sorrow, the lack of God in your life. Honestly, I feel like there's this incompleteness that we have as people without the Lord. And any the time I spent away from God, I guess you would say, or like rejecting him or like having a bridge, kicked down between us, that time I was less, there wasn't God in me. It was just me. And it was like, you know, once I gave my life to Christ and had him fully in my life, you become a new creation. It says in the Bible that the old is dead and passed away and the new has come. So did I did religion in general? Yeah. That's a great question. No, it's not God doing it. Um, the the whole point of okay, let me answer for the religion in general. It's very possible for some cultures to have created some sort of like spiritual figure to influence their people. That's not Christianity, but I mean, I would not be surprised if that has happened because in the Bible it says that there will be false prophets, there will be false gods. So that's already biblically stated. That's concrete. I mean, people misuse anything good. So, yes, I would say there are some monarchs that have used Christianity or the Bible in ways that they never should have. And I apologize for that as a Christian, but also like, their souls will be judged as they should be. So it's not up to me. But yeah, as far as religion in general, I'm sure there are countless examples of religion being used for someone's personal gain. But Christianity was not created for anyone's personal gain. Mhm. Because animals don't have souls. They're not they're not made in the image of God. So they don't have soul. So like no, that's in the Bible. It says we were made in the image of God, male and female. That he created us. And God is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So we believe like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit kind of is like a good graph of it, I guess. That's kind of our image. Um, so we have souls. We have our mind and we have our body. That's kind of like right. No. Um, so because God has been forever, he was with the very first people. So there was no reason for people to be like, oh, we have something, or oh, we have this need to influence people. We needed to create God. It's like, no, people had a relationship with God since the very, very first people. There was no creating him. He had always been. So are you saying Christianity or are you not? Well, I'm saying the very first people did not create Christianity because God was there. So, no. Yeah, it wasn't called that. You just were in relationship with God, and then it grew from there. Um, Eventually they were, the Israelites and the Jews. Um, Possibly that's why they were created, or like you were saying before, to influence people or for someone to have power, because again, like both of those, religions were created by one person. Um, and that's pretty sad, right? The fact that they've taken like a false prophet and run with it so convincingly, I guess. Or I guess also they kind of guarantee power to people in some of their religions, or like say karma is a big thing, and it's just tough. It's tough that people kind of um fall for that. Well, okay, can you look up when did Islam start? So that's after Christ. Can you look up when Buddhism started? That it says Hinduism has no single founder, but like I don't think that's true. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, you would say Jesus did. So, okay, can you say when was the Torah written? The Torah is the first books of the Bible. Yeah, the first four books of the Old Testament. It is the first four books of the Bible, and yes, the Jews kind of that was their whole Bible at that time because not all of the Bible had gone on yet. Between the 6th and 4th centuries before Christ. So that's 6,000 years before Jesus. That's a long time. I'm sorry, what did you say? Yeah, it's exactly the same as the first four books of the Bible. Isn't that crazy? That's 6,000 years before Jesus. That's 8,000 years ago. No, he loves us and he wants a relationship with us. And those who love him will obey him. That's what it says in the Bible as well. But you're not like I mean, everyone's bound by his like there is law in everything, but Christians are the ones that are supposed to be obeying him and not sinning and like striving to live more like Christ. Non-Christians, if they don't do that, it's like they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be like they're living in sin, and that's what they're supposed to do because that's not they haven't chosen to live a life like Christ. Does that make sense? Like, God's not mad at you. Like, God's not mad at you. He doesn't have this void in between you. As soon as you want to have a relationship with him, he's right there anyways. And he's ready to have a relationship with you. So there's nothing dividing you from him. He's giving you the option, but he wants you to choose him. I guess you could put it that way, but it's not really a test so much as an option that he really wants you to choose. It's just like if you were dating someone and you wanted to marry them, but she's waiting around for you to ask her to marry you, you know? Bible. The Bible is totally provable. It's totally there's so much evidence. There's so much evidence for the Bible. It's crazy. I mean, 64 books written over the course of 6,000 years is pretty crazy. I mean, signs and wonders, you mean? Um, I mean, that's something you and God should talk about. I I can't like ask God to, bring fire to your window or something like that. I just don't feel right about that. But also, I don't like the idea of testing God because of like a lack of faith, I guess. It says that faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. Now, your one sign might just be the fact that you need to pray and talk to the Lord. I mean, you can totally do that, and maybe he will. You just have to have an open heart for that. Mm-mm.
Your life is not enough to call off the extermination.
How can you be so inhuman? You will suffer the hammer of God!
God, you say? Now this is intriguing. How much longer do you think your God plans to wait before unleashing his fury? Just how many thousands of lives must I take before he decides to strike me down?
You're a monster!
Open your eyes. God is nothing more than a construct created by man to inspire fear and promote order. If you wish to see me struck down for all these atrocities, use your own hands to do so, not God's.
Okay, this is not exactly answering your question right off the bat, but have you noticed that all of the characters we've looked at in TV shows and movies that are like anti-God are the antagonists and the bad guys in the movie? Isn't, isn't that kind of strange? No, no. But these, uh, but like even this guy, he's the bad guy in this scene, and that's not necessarily about religion. If you're a Christian and you're not being obedient, you'll have the Holy Spirit, which will make you aware that you've sinned and you will feel bad. He's given you potential to do so much good, though. It's like maybe you're just putting your I think when you choose goodness over what is bad, which there's so much that is bad, you're so right. Like you're choosing to be closer to the Lord. So, mhm, mm. Um, wait, it makes it bad because they got married twice? Sure. I mean, if they both want to be in marriage, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes. If you're married to one person and you have sex with them, yes. It's a gift from God for people within the construct of marriage. It's bad for this person to go around with 100 people sleeping with them. That's terrible. It's bad for your so many things. I mean, even if you look at the science, oxytocin connects us with people, and that's what happens when you have relations with them because it's like skin to skin contact and like all of these different actual real world there's evidence for these things. And so all of that happens and every time you do that you're kind of connecting yourself with someone and God has put this gift for us within marriage so that we can have strength and like unity in marriages whereas that's like such a gift for those two people to get to enjoy together for their entire lives but with a bunch of random strangers or even people they become friends with that is such a temporary um thing and they're not using the gift the way they should, it's not beautiful and it's not how God intended it to be. No, you're not. Within marriage, it is good. It's supposed to be good when in marriage. Like it's a gift for people in marriage. Well, they're not us. Like killing is wrong for humans for sure. But also supposedly there was no there were no carnivores before sin came into the world is like a whole thought because we see like the first animal that ever died was killed to make clothes for Adam and Eve after they sinned and it was like a sacrifice as well. It's very interesting. Oh no, I believe in dinosaurs. How does that so I believe dinosaurs were there during the Garden of Eden and everything. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not into all of those facts. Um, well, okay, if the Torah was written about 6,000 years before Christ and Christ was 2026 years ago ish, give or take, that would put what? About 8,000 years would be when the Torah was written. So before then, It'd be about 10,000 years, I guess. I don't know. I'm just saying I dinosaurs existed. I don't know when. Not really, because like in the beginning, it says that God made the heavens and the earth, and there was evening and there was morning. And like it has all seven steps of how he created everything, but it doesn't really restrict him by time necessarily. Like it says 7 days, but those 7 days could have been time periods of like a really, really long time um because he's not bound by time, you know? Yeah. Sex, it's good within marriage with one, it was just two people within marriage forever. Good. More than that, not good. 100 strangers, no. No, it's not just the quantity, it's how it is done. It's like, no, because I don't believe in divorce. And I just wouldn't do that. That's just, yeah, no, 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 never. But it's not that that is good versus bad. It's like within that set of circumstances, it is great. And it's a great gift. So it's like, there's marriage, which is supposed to be unity. Like there's supposed to be trust, unity. One of them is protecting the other. The other one is also so he's like protecting, providing, and she's being a homemaker and a warm person in his life. And whatever that balance might look like, that's like very stereotypical words that we use. But those things like are so important for balance within a home. So if you're trying to build a home with someone, you're not going to want to have the person in your home sleeping around with 100 people. That's ridiculous. I don't believe like all sins are equal is what I believe, but I know what you're talking about. I kind of know what I know what they are roughly, but they're not more important than other sins. Yeah, right. Yes. Well, it's not, it could be degree, but also like with marriage, it's circumstance. If you just have, relations with some random person, but it's just one person, but you're not married, like it's still bad. What do you, oh, you mean like gluttony even? Um, okay. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If we only had stable Christian based marriages in America, how many single mothers would there be? There would be none. Can you look? Oh, yeah, Christians get divorced, but yeah. Will you look up how many single mothers there are in America? Yeah, those are all different. Maybe statistics or something. This alone would also yeah. So that just shows how destructive that without marriage is. Now, there are totally single Christian moms that either converts or people that just kind of um, have stories that aren't really common, but it's just it's just interesting. But marriage is a gift in itself, and that is a gift within marriage. So, okay. Oh, mm, right. I don't think so. I don't think gluttony would exist in heaven because no sin would exist in heaven. But also, we wouldn't be eating because we were hungry. We'd just be eating because it's like a pleasant thing, I guess. A bunch of foods. I don't think so. I don't think so because heaven is like there's no sin in heaven. Just like I said, there's no tears in heaven. Like you. Oh, I see. Okay, well let me ask you. Is eating too much good for you or is eating too much bad for you? Is it good for you or is it bad for you? But God gives us laws and he gives us instructions for our betterment. Is it good for you to sleep with 100 people? Is it good for your body? Is it good for your mind? Is it good for your soul? No, it's not. It's not. It's not good for your mind. It's yeah, but it's not good for your mind or your spirit, and you're not getting attached to one person. You're getting like slightly broken. At, it's not playing yet. Martyrs are real, and people were killed while being taunted about their belief in God, and still probably are. And I think that's terrible. And I pray for their peace and that they are protected and safe if that can be so. But um, I guess like wait, okay, what are you asking exactly? Or I still don't understand the question. Am I speaking to the people? Okay. Mm, I don't think I would expect anything from him. I would definitely ask for peace and mercy to be shown on these people, or, you know, if they're supposed to or have to die, that it can be painless or fast or whatever. Like, even these prayers are dreadful. Like, I hate praying prayers like that. But it's just something that does happen and it's terrible. But like I was saying earlier, with like God being such a just and gracious God, those people that are going through those terrible things might be some of the people that he lets come into heaven. So I don't think that their story is over in that. I definitely know, like, the Jews in the Holocaust, I know God has grace for them and that they're not just going to be, cast into hell. I mean, his grace is sufficient for everyone. I think anyone who truly loved him and called on his name, he had a relationship with. So, no, no. I believe he did come to help and he used people to help. I don't know. I don't really know. Right. So we are in control of ourselves, like, outside of just do not sin, do not, do out of these things like selfish gain and all this stuff. Like, if we're doing everything we can do to glorify the Lord, we will be helping people. So, like, if I saw a little girl that got hit by a bike and she's sitting on the floor crying, and I say, "Oh God, please send someone to help her," and I'm not just going over there and helping her, it's like, what am I doing? Like, I'm capable, I'm fine, I'm not gonna get in immediate danger. Like, with us having, armies and stuff, or whoever was able to help back then, I would say it's like somewhat their obligation to try and help their fellow humans if they're able and they're not going to be putting themselves in like direct harm, which they kind of would be. But, anyways, I think I would like have compassion for them, but I would still encourage them to not let their faith falter due to things that happen on earth, because the earth is sinful, people are sinful, the world is imperfect. So, like, my aunt's house burnt down last night. Like, actually, and her Jeep caught fire, and like everything is melted and burnt down and stuff. And yeah, she's okay. Thank you for asking. She's okay, and her husband's okay, and her daughter's okay. But they woke up at like 2 in the morning and found all of this happening. And I was thinking about that, and I was just thinking like, wow, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe like that happened, Lord. I was kind of talking to God about it. And I didn't really ask why he let that happen, but I did say thank you for letting them wake up at 2 in the morning and like randomly wake up 2 in the morning and hear the fire crackling and leave the house like totally randomly. Like, one of them kind of stirred awake. And if they hadn't, I don't know if they'd be alive, because they could have died from just inhaling smoke before even burning. And then, of course, I prayed, like, thank you for that. But also, like, I'm just asking him, like, I don't really know why all of that happened, but I pray that, we can be helpers in their healing. And honestly, maybe it's going to be something that brings her closer to other people. Maybe it'll bring her closer to our family again. I don't know why God allowed that to happen, but it's clear that they were protected by God. because I think he always is using things for the goodness of his people, even if it seems like bad things. But those were all material possessions. They were not people, you know? So I know it's not a direct correlation to what you were saying before. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sin. That's still sin. It's like, again, their free will, but it's because peace, sort of. Yeah, peace, sort of. Um, because again, like the people that are not trying to follow God are not following God. And the people that are trying to follow God are trying to follow God, but they're not perfect. So, like, sin is predominant and it influences all of these bad decisions and all of these selfish decisions. So, I would say a lot of wars are just stemmed from selfishness. I don't I don't think there's a war I've heard of that isn't. Other than maybe like okay, in the Bible, there's this war that starts because one of the sons of David, I believe, uh, gets really frustrated because his sister was like sexually assaulted by their stepbrother or something crazy. And so they start this whole war, like avenging their sister. And I'm like, dang, that's kind of awesome though, that they were like trying to avenge her. Um, I think that's kind of cool. But anyways, so that might be one war that's not coming from selfishness. But don't use Wikipedia as a reference. That's just not trustable. Christianity Today might, yeah, Crusades. I need to learn more about the Crusades because they're just crazy, crazy times. And I need to be more informed about that, honestly. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Now, God did like, he, in the Old Testament, whenever all of the Israelites or the Hebrew people were enslaved by the Egyptians, he sent people to free them from being slaves. Do you know that story? So I feel like maybe there's a lot more of like God, um, of God delivering his people than you know, just because there's stories in the Bible and maybe you're just not super familiar with some of the stories. So whenever I say like, no, it's not guaranteed that God will, save you or help you, it's not. But there's a lot more examples of that in the Bible than, in modern day that I can reference. So maybe I just need to bring those up a little more. Well, I would say like he is perfect and heaven is perfect and living with him will be perfect. So partially, I think suffering is just a result of the human existence because we have chosen sin, obviously, and there's sin in the world, which I know I blame a lot on sin. I'm getting tired of it, but it's true. He did not create sin, he created us. Sin is not a physical thing, it's a choice, right? He created us and we choose to sin sometimes, but that's not what he created. So the example I was trying to give, he didn't create sin. He created us. And we've chosen to sin. But that's not what he created us for. He created us to be enjoyed by him and to worship him. We wouldn't have free will though. But we will be sinless in heaven though. And, what's interesting about how we were created, I know we were talking about like the animals and stuff, and you said something about like the animals not that we were like a little bit smarter than animals and we have some sort of like authority complex or something. Didn't you say something like that? Okay. Okay. Um, Something about sin. He can do all things. So yeah, if he wanted to, I'm positive he could have. No, he did not create sin. No, he created people with choice and he created us in his image. Um, yeah. So sickness also wouldn't be a thing if we had never chosen to sin, but we did. And it is in our nature. So you have a great point. Like sin does exist. Like why doesn't God do something about it? He did do something about it. He sent Jesus to die on the cross for us so that we may live in a world with no sin if we choose to follow him and accept him as our Lord. So it's like he's giving us the opportunity to choose a world with no sin for later. That's like a very elementary way of explaining it for me. What'd you say? Right. I think some people like to say, well, I hate this term because it's stupid, but I've heard, sorry, somebody said, like, well, if you've never seen the nighttime, you wouldn't appreciate the day because, like, the dark, right? Then you're like, oh, I can't see, but there's light in the day. You're like, oh, I can see, you know? And like that we'll appreciate it more when we're in a like sinless and like heaven and in unity and relationship with God. It's like, oh, that's cool. That's a cool idea. But I don't know, that's perspective, I guess. But also some people some people wouldn't choose that. Like some people would choose their own desires anyways. They would rather not be part of this perfect world. So partially, I guess you'd say it is the straight and narrow road. Like have peace all the time. Well, that's not how he created the world. So that's kind of silly because then the nocturnal animals would die and all of our sleep cycles would be off and we would have terrible diets and all of the plants would die eventually because they would get roasted. But he did design things. He designed nocturnal animals. He designed plants to have rest in the daytime and the nighttime. Like there's so many like small things and details about creation that are just perfect. And if they were messed up, then it'd be messed up. I think I have to go soon. What time is it? 7:30? I had like an hour and a half. My family is about to get dinner. That's why. I won't agree with that. He did not create sin. He created, yeah, he created everything. We people have the ability to choose to sin, but God did not create those sins. He did create us. He did not create sin. I would say we created sin. He created us. Well, okay, here's this. You had a son. Say you had a son, and your son, bought a grenade and killed a bunch of people at a concert. That's terrible. Did you kill all those people because your son did? No, you just had the son. But you had authority over your son. Mm. Just some thoughts, though. No, he didn't create sin because he's a perfect God and he knew no sin, is what it says in the Bible. Okay, I challenge you to talk to God. I think you want to hear from him, so you need to tell him that. I think you should pray. You want me to pray with you? Okay. All right. I'll see you later.